Currently recording a long form video for PromptMates about how to use agents, specifically ChatGPT-5 agents. Just stumbled on to kind of a fun, quick use case I wanted to throw out as well. We've been doing a lot of work with tone of voice. I've done some posts about how to create your own personal tone of voice, but I wanted to show you a fun little agent right now that'll help you actually be able to take somebody else's tone of voice if you like the way that they write. I'll put a link down to this. It's a prompt that will help you in agent mode be able to take the way that somebody else communicates, like a popular blogger, YouTube person, or someone on LinkedIn that you really admire, and be able to emulate their tone. The first thing you want to do is go down here into agent mode. You get a limited amount of these per month. Usually I think it's like somewhere in the neighborhood like 30. Right there, I've got agent. I'm going to go ahead and paste my prompt. And then you'll notice up here, I'm gonna go, let's kill where it says, take it out. It tells me to complete what I have. So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and use Mel Robbins. For those of you who don't know who Mel Robbins is, you might know the let them theory. It's pretty popular. So here's her website. We got two B's. I wasn't sure if it was two B's or two N's. Just fill out what you got. So website URL right here. Copy it. Now, the neat thing too is most of these folks scroll down to the bottom, they're going to have links to all their stuff. If you notice, we got copy link address. That's her YouTube. The cool thing about agents, it'll go on to YouTube and actually pull down the transcripts of the YouTube to learn everything that was said. Here we got Facebook. Go ahead and put that here for her Facebook. And then grab the LinkedIn. And all this is going to do is just scrape how she communicates and then run it through our pre-existing tone of voice document. For those of you that already done your tone of voice, you remember that one of the things you had to do is go get a lot of content. You could do this on yourself. If you really like the content that you've been putting out on LinkedIn, or if you have a blog or a Substack or these sorts of things, absolutely go ahead and use this to scrape your content if you want. I find this really useful. Actually, let's let it run while I yap. It's going to take a second. Let's go ahead. Make sure it pops up its little agent window. Bam, popped up its little agent window. All right, so while that rolls, like I said, I'll go back to the app. I really like being able to grab other people's style of communication, not to just outright plagiarize it. It helps me when I'm creating content or outreach content to be able to say, you know, write this in the voice of Gary Vee, or write this in the voice of Mel Robbins, or, you know, blend so-and-so influencer that I like with other influencer. Another really useful thing, more professional, is you can capture the tone of voice of your company. Every one of those things I just showed, from a YouTube video to a homepage to a LinkedIn, etc. The majority of places that we work have all those places as well. You could even create the tone of voice specifically to your company and then be able to have the outreaches that you do to candidates be in your corporate tone of voice. If you haven't had a chance to use agent yet, and this looks new to you, super exciting. I implore you to use agent. It gets better every day. You know, I've said it before that today's the worst AI will ever be. That holds very, very true when it comes to agent. But what it's doing right now is pulling out different videos and then using their transcript to understand what it has on it. I am going to go ahead and hit pause on the recording because this can take a few minutes, and come back once it's all ready to take a look at. All right, we're done reading through all of Mel's writing. It took about 2 minutes. This is really cool. So now it's going to ask, is this basically the Mel that we wanted to emulate? So you want to go through, it's in fact the New York Times bestseller, award-winning podcast host, author of Let Them, etc. So is this the right person? I'm going to say, yes, please proceed. And now what it's going to do is take all of that information it gathered as an agent and use the rest of that prompt to take all of the sample documentation it just gathered as an agent, turn it into the tone of voice. The way to think about agents are they really are kind of like little robot assistants that go out and think and do stuff. People will immediately go to, well, can I get an agent to source for me on LinkedIn Recruiter and these sorts of things? Short answer is yes. Long story short, it's all about time. If you set an agent to go out and source on LinkedIn Recruiter, you need to train it how to know what good looks like, and then you got to give it time to go out and do its stuff. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and pause while our agent thinks and creates our tone of voice. I'll come right back once it's ready to take a look at, and then we'll put it into play. So it thought for another 2 minutes. We're about 4 or 5 minutes at this point. It created the entire tone of voice for Mel Robbins, just as much depth as it did when we were training it to create tone of voices for ourselves. So a couple things you can do. If it's a very long document, you can go ahead and download it as a PDF. Now I have a Mel Robbins tone of voice document all to my own. You can take a look here. So I always have that now. But let's test it really quick. We could even go here and say something to the effect of, write me 2 paragraphs in Mel's voice talking about how incredible PromptMates is and how lucky we are to have such a supportive community of talent leaders building tools to solve their own paper cuts and helping each other in this new era of selfish software. I'm going to go ahead and turn the agent off because I don't need the agent to do that. I just need ChatGPT to do it. So agent's going to go away. All right, for those of you that know how I talk, this is not how I talk. This is how Mel talks. So in about 10 minutes, we were able to take an agent, take the robot, send it off, have it do a job for us, and come back with a complete artifact tone of voice. I hope right now you're thinking, my goodness, who are some people's tone of voices that I want to be able to start writing like? Have fun with this one. Keep an eye out for some other stuff, and happy building.